Quiet on the set!
Call in action. I'm from LA, okay? Hi, I'm Christina Perozzi. Welcome to Goose Island's Brewed for Food education series. Today, we are going to make beer braised brisket, but we're not gonna do it the traditional way. We are going to be sous-viding our brisket, which means under pressure, pushing down on me. It means under vacuum. Okay, start over. So stupid, okay. Brisket's actually a very difficult thing to make. You have to spend a lot of time smoking it, 7 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours. I wanted to find a way to make it a little bit easier and also to make it with delicious stout. It's kind of a new way of cooking, which really regulates the exact temperature, the exact amount of time, and takes all the guesswork out of cooking meat. It's actually dummy proofed, so it's really good for me. The first thing we are going to do is have a beer. Cheers. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is do a rub on our brisket. We have a flat cut brisket right here. It's about 5 pounds. I had them leave the fat cap on because what you really want is good, juicy, fatty, luscious brisket. We're kind of relying on Texas-based recipes here because they're the ones, down in Austin, that's where they're really making the best brisket. So we're gonna do salt and pepper. We could measure it out if we wanted to. It's probably about 1/4 of a cup of salt and about 1/3 of a cup of pepper, but I'm not gonna measure it. I'm just gonna make it rain. Does that seem like too much? And pepper. So you just wanna really rub it into that fat. Give it a couple slaps. Flip it over. More salt. It's really not a difficult thing. Super easy, but honestly, brisket has been considered one of the most difficult meats to cook, at least cook right. It can be really tough. It's a really lean cut, so you just really have to pay attention to it if you're gonna be smoking it. But what we're gonna do is put it in a plastic bag and then put it into water with beer. It's gonna be awesome. One of the issues with brisket, right, if we're gonna sous vide it, is there is no smoke.
Smoke weed every day.
So how are we gonna get smoke into the brisket? We could do it a couple of different ways. We could wait until after we have cooked the brisket and finish it on some charcoals with some wood chips and get some smoke that way. We could use a smoking gun, put it under cover, and just infuse the smoke into it. What we're going to do is actually use a smoky, peaty beer to braise it while it's sous viding to instill those smoky flavors. So the beer I chose to do this with is Goose Island Islay. It's actually a Russian Imperial Stout that's been barrel aged in Scotch barrels for 17 months. So why don't we taste it? You can look at the color of this beer. It's beautiful, dark. Can't see light through it. Amazing. Super peaty, and when I say peaty, I mean smoky. You almost get a savory flavor from it. I mean, it's almost kind of hammy. In the best way. I use these really, really big jumbo bags. They're not necessarily sous vide quality. So what I do is I'll double bag it, but a brisket is really, really big, and so you need a really big bag. So the gallon bag, you can use a Ziplock bag generally, isn't gonna be big enough for this particular cut. So here I go, picking up my 5 pounds of beef brisket, putting it in the bag, and then I'm going to have a sip. I'm gonna do about a cup of the Islay. So here's what I'm doing. Bag, brisket, beer. Boom. Bag, brisket, beer, boom. Okay, so I'm gonna double bag this Haas because We're gonna be sous videing this at about 155 degrees, which is a little warm for beef. Generally, if I'm sous videing beef, I'm gonna want it to be at about 130 degrees, 131 maybe. That's medium rare. That's generally where I like my beef. But with a long, slow cook and especially tough cut of meat, you actually want to be a little bit high in the temperature so that you can break down those connective tissues, break down the toughness of the beef. And I've tried it at 135, I tried it at 145, but 155 seems to be the sweet spot. So we've heated up our sous vide to 155 degrees. We're going to drop this in. I know I said that sous vide meant under vacuum, and I have not vacuumed this. You can do sous vide with a vacuum machine where you suck out all the air and it seals the bag and you're perfectly zero air. But we have liquid in this. And if you use one of those vacuum sealers, it would suck all the liquid out. It'd be a terrible mess. So we're going to use something called an air displacement method, which really is just lowering this bag into the water. The water's going to displace all the air in it. We're just going to clip it to the top of the sous vide, and then we're going to let it chill for 36 hours. This way. Damn it. Damn it! You also want to keep the bag open so that the air can escape, or else you're going to have a floating problem. You want to make sure that the water is covering the entire beef. And because it's going to be here for so long, you probably want to put some saran wrap over the top so the water doesn't evaporate. And we'll be back in 36 hours to check it out. Okay, so here we are, 36 hours later. That's a day and a half to the layperson. This is what it looks like now. Now, because we had it at 155 degrees, we are going to extract a lot of juice from the meat, but because we've broken down those connective tissues, it's still going to be really nice and moist. The first thing I want to do is make sure that we save all of the liquid from this, because this is the delicious juice from the steak. It's the marinade, it's the braised from the beer. This is where all the magic is happening. Oh! Yes! Hot, it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. Oh God. That was really hot. So we have the juice. Was it worth it? I hope so. And now what we're going to do is fake a bark, basically, on this meat. So what usually happens when you're smoking for 7 or 10 or 12 hours, that you'll get this beautiful, crunchy, caramelized, burnt bark on the top and on the bottom. And so what we are going to do is take this, put it on this beautiful rack. I've lined it with a little bit of tin foil so we get a little bit more reflective heat. We're going to put it in the oven at 275 if you have convection, which I do, or you can do 300 degrees. You're going to do it for 2 more hours. So one of the things that you really need to know about actually caramelizing this, it has to be dry. So paper towels are one of your best friends in the kitchen. Use them all the time. We're just going to pat this dry. One of the things about sous vide is that when you get it out of the sous vide, it looks kind of ugly. It looks like you've boiled it, really. It looks a little, you know, oog. But what we're going to do is we're going to rub it again. So we're going to do more salt.
And rub it in, rub it in.
Can you have too much salt?
Rub it in, rub it
More pepper.
I feel the tingle begin.
Flip it. And my fingers are literally like going into this fat cap right now. It's so tender. More salt. More pepper. More beer.
That feels good.
And then what I'm going to do, put this in the oven, 2 hours. Here we go. Make it develop the awesome bark. See you in 2 hours. So here we are. It's 2 hours later. I've been checking in on our brisket. 275 convection is perfect, except I wanted a little bit more caramelization. So I just threw on the broiler for a minute, maybe 5 minutes, and with nice, dark, black bark. So I'm going to pull it out. Oh. This makes me happy. Look at this. Amazing. If you were to compare this to a smoked brisket, I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference. Some people ask me about the smoke ring right in the side where you have like the little pink ring. That has nothing to do with flavor. It really is just cosmetic. So, shall we carve it? You guys ready? Ooh, brisket. Oh my goodness, it's like butter I'm cutting through it. Stop that insanity. It's so crispy on the top. It's so juicy. Honestly, this knife just goes through it like it's butter. You guys want to try this? Falls apart. Delicious. I mean, really? Hey! It's delicious. It's easy. What more do you want? Hey! God damn it. Well, that went fast. 36, 38, 39 hours to make, 30 seconds to eat. Tune in again next time to Test Kitchen. Check out the recipe below and also subscribe, like, and comment. See you next time.